الخير.
Good afternoon. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television, live in Beirut. I'm Linda Tamim, and these are today's headlines. Lebanese Prime Minister Tamam Salam calls on Hezbollah and the Future movement to facilitate the election of a new president. Progressive Socialist Party leader Walid Jumblat meets with Finance Minister Ali Hassan Khalil to discuss the dialogue between Hezbollah and the Future movement. And people around the world are preparing for Christmas. Lebanese Prime Minister Tamam Salam has called on rivals Hezbollah and the Future movement to facilitate the election of a new president. Speaking following a meeting with Patriarch Bshara Rai at the seat of the Maronite Church in Kirki, Salam said he hoped the Hezbollah-Future dialogue, which kicked off Tuesday after 4 years of total estrangement, would eventually comprise other factions and lead to the ending of the presidential impasse. He added the Prime Minister and the government are trying to fill in, but the country won't settle and matters will remain stagnant as long as the vacuum persists. In a grim Christmas message to the Lebanese people, Maronite Patriarch Bshara Rai has acknowledged the darkness of the current political phase as he called for a swift exit from a state of national paralysis. He says the lack of loyalty to the state has led to the violation of the Constitution and the National Pact. The Patriarch also noted the darkness of political calculations, which, according to him, have prevented consensus over a fair election law that would secure proper representation. Rai says he believes Lebanon can only exit this grim phase through the election of a president who is commended for his history and practices and who also shows love toward Lebanon, its people and its institutions. The Patriarch stressed that Lebanon needed politicians who were culturally and morally qualified to exercise politics in the service of man. Progressive Socialist Party leader MP Walid Jumblat has met with Ali Hassan Khalil in presence of Health Minister Wael Abafawj to discuss the dialogue held between Hezbollah and the Future movement. Both parties have agreed during an ice-breaking meeting to start a serious and responsible dialogue with the aim of easing political tensions in the country and paving the way for energizing state institutions. Both sides stressed their eagerness and readiness to start a serious and responsible dialogue over various issues, with each group understanding the stance of the other from some disputed topics. Health Minister Wael Abafawj reiterates his determination to continue the food safety campaign throughout Lebanon while focusing on the latest discoveries at the Rafiq Hariri International Airport. During a press conference before food safety inspectors, the minister said the food safety file at the airport had been referred to the General Prosecution. On Tuesday, Abafawj detailed the findings at the facility, describing the food storage areas there as a barn and death chambers for the citizens' health, and revealed that some products have been expired since 1995. The Islamic State group has captured a Jordanian pilot after his warplane from the U.S.-led coalition was reportedly shot down while on a mission against the jihadists over northern Syria. A senior Jordanian military official confirmed the pilot was seized, saying his plane went down in Syria's Raqqa region, a militant stronghold, early this morning. Jordan did not say why the plane went down, but both the jihadists and a monitoring group said it was shot with an anti-aircraft missile. It was the first coalition warplane lost since airstrikes on ISIS began in Syria in September. And coming up next, Sony Pictures Entertainment announces a limited theatrical release of The Interview this Christmas. More details after the break. Welcome back. People around the world are preparing for Christmas. Shoppers scurried across the Beirut souks this afternoon in a last-ditch effort to buy Christmas gifts for their loved ones. Elsewhere in the world, in the region, 700 Christian pilgrims left the fortified Gaza Strip en route to the West Bank town of Bethlehem to celebrate the event. Israel granted special permission to several hundreds of Christian residents to leave the blockaded strip and travel to the West Bank. In France, Christmas shoppers hit the stores in Paris in a frenzy of last-minute buying. On what was expected to be the busiest day of the year, Paris's department stores were abuzz with customers who seemed to have put any worries about the country's sluggish economy on hold to admire the displays and a new attraction, a giant transparent snow bubble under the Eiffel Tower, added more light to the spirit of Noel. In Mexico, residents descended on the central Mexican city of Tepoztlán for the beloved local tradition of the Christmas play, known in Mexico as the Pastorela. For half a century, the famed pastorelas of Tepoztlán have delivered a yearly dose of mariachi music and laughter, retelling the story of the birth of Jesus with a Mexican twist. Israeli forces have killed a Palestinian man after a firefight along the border with the Gaza Strip. Sources in Hamas, which governs Gaza, says he was a member of the group's armed wings monitoring unit in the southern Gaza Strip. The Israeli army said in a statement that a routine patrol on the Israeli side of the border came under attack from snipers in southern Gaza, and that forces responded with fire from the ground and the air. The incident reportedly occurred in the Khan Yunis area, and as Israeli workers were engaged in work on border fence. Australian police say 2 men have been arrested in Sydney as part of an ongoing investigation into a group that officials have accused of plotting to kill a random member of the public in the largest Australian city. Police say one was charged with possession of documents designed to facilitate an attack, while a 21-year-old was charged with breaching a control order. Prime Minister Tony Abbott said security officials had intercepted a heightened level of terrorist chatter, but there were no specific threats of attacks. And in the United States, an 18-year-old black teenager has been killed by a police officer who claims to have acted in self-defense at a patrol station in the St. Louis suburb of Berkeley in the U.S. state of Missouri. Police said that an officer was conducting a routine check at the patrol station when he approached 2 men, one of whom pulled a handgun and pointed it at the officer. Police say the officer then fired several shots, striking and fatally wounding the suspect. The second suspect reportedly fled the scene. Sony Pictures Entertainment has announced a limited theatrical release of The Interview beginning on Thursday, putting back into the theaters the comedy that prompted an international incident with North Korea and outrage over its cancelled release. Sony Entertainment CEO Michael Litton said Seth Rogen's North Korea farce will be in a number of theaters on Christmas Day. He said Sony was also continuing its efforts to release the film on more platforms and in more theaters. Rogen, who starts in the film he co-directed with Ivan Goldberg, hadn't made any public comments throughout the surreal ordeal that began with hackers leaking Sony emails and culminated in a confrontation between the U.S. and North Korea. North Korea suffered sweeping internet outages in the apparent attack on Monday that followed vows from U.S. President Barack Obama of a response to what he called North Korea's cyber vandalism of Sony. The White House and State Department declined to say whether the U.S. government was responsible. WestJet's Blue Santa brought a snowy Canadian Christmas to a beach in the Dominican Republic in this year's Christmas Miracle video. This is the 3rd year the airline has put a Christmas video together, following past videos that have made quite a splash online. Check it out.
'Twas a day before Christmas on a faraway isle, a small town where our friends live, a place full of smiles. Yes, we've been to this town many times before, but this time was different. There was a miracle in store. A blue sleigh appeared on a street by the shore. But why was it here? What was it for?
Hola, niños.
¿Santa Claus?
Santa Claus de azul.
Zulina, ¿eres tú?
Sí.
¿Cómo han estado este año?
Muy bien y muy contenta de verlo.
¿Qué creen que necesitan para la Navidad?
Me gustaría una lavadora.
Una casa de muñecas. Un carro. Una patineta. Muñeca.
Yo necesitaría un caballo. Tengo una carreta que está media mala y quiero arreglarla.
Una cuna.
Soy motoconcho, pero no tengo motor. Y para sustentar a mis hijos necesito que me premien con un motor.
Santa spoke to each person long into the night and WestJetters were ready to shop at first light. Everyone split up into two different teams and set out to help realize everyone's dreams.
Lights up bright, I know it's a beautiful sight. Santa's coming to town and he's coming tonight.
The very next day, the whole town was invited down the beach to a party. All the kids were excited. They all stood in the snow under tropical skies with no idea what was about to arrive. As they played in the snow, faces filled with delight, smiles sparkled with the magic of a first snowball fight. Santa didn't forget Cristiano, of course. When the big man arrived, he was leading a horse. It's clear, one thing we all believe: 'tis better to give than it is to receive. And the very next day, when they rose from their beds, with memories of Christmas still fresh in their heads.
Para mis niños en la comunidad no es fácil vivir en una comunidad donde no tienen lugar para jugar, donde no tienen un espacio donde ellos puedan ser niños.
There was one lasting symbol, one more gift to reveal. A safe place for children to play was now real.
Podemos ver en el día de hoy muchos niños felices, un gran sueño en realidad.
And at the end of the day, Santa had one thing to add.
Merry Christmas to all, and Feliz Navidad!
And on this cheerful note, we end our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. Lebanese Prime Minister Tamam Salam calls on Hezbollah and the Future Movement to facilitate the election of a new president. Progressive Socialist Party leader Walid Jumblat meets with Finance Minister Ali Hassan Khalil to discuss the dialogue held between Hezbollah and the Future Movement. And people around the world are preparing for Christmas. Those are your headlines for today. I'm Linda Tamim, and on behalf of our team, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Have a good one.